Hello, hello, hello. Let's see, how is the sound? Hopefully it's okay. Got a 30-second delay here, so I won't find out for another few seconds. It's been a long day, but I am ready for this. Just tried sending a super chat, but it didn't appear for some odd reason. Well, that's no good. I got the monetization on. I don't know what to tell you there. That's kind of weird. Sorry about that. Just gonna check the quality of the stream here. Sounds okay, huh? Yeah, it sounds good. Okay. I'm always paranoid about the sound because it's been spotty as of late. I lowered the bit rate for the audio to 128, so because I'm thinking 160 is the max they allow you to stream on YouTube. But they recommend 128, so I gave that a shot. Hopefully this is better. I'll try not to peak too much. Yeah, how is everybody doing? I am excited to dive into this. Illusion Lock, if you are not aware, is a web series on YouTube. I would encourage you to go subscribe right now. I'll drop a link in the chat again. Please subscribe to Illusion Lock. A bit of popping. God damn it. I've tried literally every possible combination of things. Combination of settings here. Yeah. I don't know what the problem could be, because it's like I've tried literally every. I'm pretty sure I've tried literally every setting. It is a problem that is exclusive to streaming, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. When I record without streaming, it sounds perfectly fine. I've tried messing with the audio bit rate. Nothing. I don't know. It's weird. Subscribe and hit that bell. We're going to work through it. It's just some minor crackling, so it's fucking annoying. It's driving me insane, but I think it's workable. And I'll keep troubleshooting. I'm sorry about that. I know it's annoying. It annoys me too. Anyway, where's everybody from? I do enjoy hearing the what country everybody's in. Got my audio output capture is not getting the footnotes. That is unacceptable. That should do it. There we go. Maybe it's on YouTube's end, but other people stream all the time and it's not a problem for them, so it doesn't make sense, right? Have I checked? See, the wires aren't the problem because I have recorded independently of streaming and it sounds perfectly fine. Anyway, like I said, we're going to work through it. My hair, I conditioned my hair today and it's, I don't know, it's too dry. Frankly, it's a bit dry and frizzy. I feel like I'm the before guy in a shampoo commercial. That's no good, right? South Korea. Wow. Greetings from the U.S. Got a fellow Midwesterner. You understand the repression, I'm sure. Western part of Mexico. Greetings from the Estados Unidos. Sorry, I don't want to be one of those dicks who just randomly speaks Spanish to prove that I can, because I actually cannot at all. Ontario, okay. Hello, welcome. Excellent. Got a diverse group of people here. You'll love to see it. Let's see if this doodad works. Hold on. Check it out. Look at this. I got a little scroll thing that I made. Isn't that nifty? I just worked that up today. I was just kind of bored. Nifty, huh? Anyway. All right, let's cut the bullshit here. There's no more screwing around. Too much screwing around here. Come on, you guys. Hello, and welcome to Nightmare Masterclass. My name is David Stockdale. I'll be your host on this excursion into the dark unknown. In this very special live installment, we'll be taking a look at a mysterious new series known as Illusion Lock. Now, I have not watched anything in this series thus far. Uh-oh. My audio player died. Really miffed that one up, didn't I? Anyway, we will be exploring a mysterious web series known as Illusion Lock. Now, this series has been on my radar for a while, but I've kind of been sleeping on it. I haven't had a chance to really look into it quite yet, and I am excited because quite a few people have recommended it to me. Now, as of today, as of right now, this series has almost 500 subscribers. So what do you think? Do you think we can hit 500 tonight? I think we can get them to 500. Wouldn't you say? Excellent. Did the music not play at all? That would be fitting, wouldn't it? Subscribe and hit that bell. Weird. I don't know what the problem could be, because it's like I'm such a... I've tried messing with the audio bit rate. I don't know. It's weird. Subscribe and hit that bell. Anyway, Yeah, maybe my machine is haunted. Haunted by the ghosts of times past. I'm going to refill my audio and then we'll get going here. What did I just say? I'm going to refill my water. Okie dokie. Might bust out the beer a little bit later. Just like doing that. All right. Yeah, I said refill my audio. What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm sorry. Streaming makes me nervous sometimes. Especially when I'm having technical difficulties. Yeah, you know, like, I don't know, for some reason, stream, water, audio, it's all mixed together in my head. Anyway, enough bullshit. Wow. Okay, so this series has quite a bit of episodes, but a lot of them are pretty short. And then we got the soundtrack. It actually looks like the soundtrack was uploaded prior to everything else. So that's kind of interesting. I have actually checked out the soundtrack. I was doing that earlier today just to make sure I wasn't like missing anything important. And I do recommend if you sort of like video game music, or like, how would I describe it? It's actually kind of a broad array of different types of music in this soundtrack. I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I would recommend checking out the soundtrack, but we're not gonna do that right now. We're just gonna go to this first video here. This video is titled "An Invitation." Interesting. What do we make of that? I guess we'll see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so this is cool. In the video description, it looks like there is a link to a Google Drive folder, which possibly contains the video game itself. Can someone verify this information? I need fact checkers on the case. Okay. An invitation. The island becomes available now. It may change as time passes, as most things do. It grows outwards, like branches, like roots. It has been rendered safe by Yodis. Eventually, another Edgar will come along with brand new ideas and a brand new world. This Edgar will have a different name, will, and voice, but they will serve the same fundamental purpose. They will find themselves face to face with uncertainty. Perhaps they will also lose themselves with... Damn it! Perhaps they may find themselves face to face with uncertainty. Perhaps they will also lose themselves within a world of their own making. While everything else is replaced, the skeletons remain unchanged. The bones that form the structure of this world, The worlds before and worlds after are the same. It's all one big game, forever and cyclical. So long as there is love and light and music in the air. Rabbit hole. Enjoy your meal. That last line is kind of interesting. It's all one big game, forever and cyclical, so long as there is love and light and music in the air. Rabbit hole. Is rabbit hole like a command? It sounds like rabbit hole is like a imperative, right? So long as there is light and love and music in the air. Rabbit hole. It's like Fire Walk with Me. Ooh. At least that's how I'm perceiving it. I could be wrong. I don't know. Enjoy your meal. Interesting. This is the first proper video in the series. I feel like this paragraph is fairly important, but I also feel like I'm not going to retain this information. One thing I will say is it seems like the names in this that are referenced here are more significant than just names. But they seem to indicate a type. Like, this Edgar will have a different name, will, and voice, but they will serve the same fundamental purpose. It almost seems like they're alluding to a type of person. Like, this type of person is going to fulfill a certain role. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Edgar and Yodis. And Yodis has rendered the world... Yodis has rendered the island safe. Or available. Yeah. Interesting. I know I'm kind of all over the place here. I'm just kind of... these cryptic paragraphs always kind of intrigue me. Oh, looks like we got him to 500. Good job. Onwards and upwards. Okay. Each of the videos is, so it's sequential. It's just IL01, IL02, IL03, and it just goes on like that. So this next one is 6 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hey.
And closed captioning is enabled. So I feel like I should turn it on.
It's Edgar. This is the game that I've been working on. It's called Illusion Lock, as you can see here by the title screen. It's not finished yet, but I'm just showing what I have so far in terms of progress.
So footnote, obviously this person just referred to themselves as Edgar, right? So Edgar was referenced in the previous, in the invitation. One must assume this is the Edgar that the invitation is referring to. Edgar is someone who is working on a game called Illusion Lock. That's what we can establish thus far. Interestingly, though, the invitation suggests that another Edgar is going to come along and basically sort of like fulfill the same function as this Edgar. So I assume this is the original Edgar we're getting right now.
I'm making it in Unity, but I'm also using... So, yeah, let's start the game. It takes place on a...
The island is where people go to escape. Anyone can come and visit, but if somebody wants to live here, they have to destroy their boat. There are 7 residents. The Tooth Home guides them one at a time. Okay. Well, I have to point out this sort of obvious thing here. If you want to live on the island where people go to escape, you have to destroy your boat, meaning you can't escape. So that's an interesting little dynamic.
An island. There's these characters who live on the island. There's 7 of them total. The one who I'm controlling right now, her name's Georgia. Yeah, these people, they're actually tree people. And they came to this island for various reasons. There's also this giant tooth that's on the island. No one knows how it got there. And they call it the Tooth Home because it's like a house. And Georgia lives inside it. It's like their objective to sustain the Tooth Home and feed it. So they have to feed it teeth. This cabinet doesn't open yet. It doesn't open until you collect all the teeth.
Normal. Highly fucking normal.
There's also this bed. You can sleep in it. And all it does right now is it gives you this music. There's also these creatures that live on the island. That's where you get the teeth from. They take you to these...
Alrighty, we got some interesting stuff going on here. So I just wanted to index a thought that I had, which is that the island is where people go to escape, right? And what else do people do to escape the drudgery of their lives or the unpleasantness of their lives? They play video games, right? So that's an obvious parallel right there. The other thing I wanted to note is that the Tooth Home is like basically this system that these people have to perpetuate. And you know, a video game can kind of be thought of as a sort of like internally, you know, coherent system, right? So that there's a couple of parallels going on here.
Worlds, these levels that you have to complete, and you collect all the teeth. This is what the outside looks like. That's the Tooth Home. Yeah, you can walk around. The arrow keys are the only button inputs that you need for this game. There's also this big wall of mushrooms that you can't pass through yet until you beat the first 3 levels. This character who I'm playing as right now, Georgia, she's like the leader of this group of people that live on the island. She's like the wise one, but you can play as the other characters too. All you have to do is run into them, and there you go. Yeah, this one here is named Chester, and he used to make bicycles. He lived in this town, and he made bicycles and unicycles, and he had this shop where he would sell the bikes. And then this giant hurricane came and blew everything down, reduced the shop to like dust and rubble. So instead of starting the whole thing over again, he just decided to come to the island. And that's why he's here. This is the first level that I want to show you guys. here's what the levels look like. There's a bunch of obstacles, as you can see.
What is that thing?
And there's also some teeth that you collect by running into them. And then once you get all of them, you beat the level. It's kind of simple. And each character has their own health bank. They all take damage separately. Each character also has their own resistance and weakness. If you look in the bottom left corner, where the character's face is, there are these two images. The one on top is whichever obstacle they're resistant to, and the one on the bottom is the one that they're weak to. So they take slightly more or less damage depending on what they get hit by. And all of them have this, except for Georgia. She's neutral, so she doesn't get any weaknesses or resistances. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if you fail a level. So if you get hit too many times and you run out of health, you get a game over. And that's what this looks like. And then once that happens, you can just press any of the arrow keys and you go back to the tooth home as Georgia. But what I'm going to show you is that after someone gets a game over, depending on who you get the game over with, that character's at lowest health, so their damage is all the way up. And the only way you can restore health in this game is by drinking from the well. And that's this well right here. And as you can see, Chester's health is back to normal now.
Love that little sound effect.
So I kind of wasted the well. You can only use it once, so I kind of wasted it by showing you the game over screen. But I'm just going to keep playing through the game. And this time, I'm going to beat this level. I should also make it clear that I made all the assets for this game. So the music and the art, that's all me. And I also did the coding, but
Alright, so the imagery, right off the bat, the imagery in this game is really weird, really fucking weird, right? So you have to collect teeth. I don't know if there's any sense in trying to figure out what the significance of teeth is at this point. I mean, right off the bat, I sort of, what comes to mind is the idea that, like, some people have dreams where their teeth are falling out. I myself I chipped my tooth, my front tooth, this guy. I chipped my front tooth when I was younger, and I've chipped it multiple times since. It's just been filled in with what do you call it? Composite. It's not a veneer or anything. I'm not that fancy. But I continually chip my tooth. Over the course of my life, I've probably chipped it like 7 or 8 times. And I have dreams where I'm like, oh no, I've chipped my tooth. I've chipped my tooth somehow. So and I've also heard that people have recurring dreams where their teeth are falling out, which I feel like I've had those too. I can't recall a specific time, but I don't know. I don't know if there's a connection there, or if I'm talking out of my ass. There's something weird with teeth going on in this game. My guess would be that the teeth are significant in some way. And then there's bugs. Now, what's the significance of bugs? Bugs can... It depends on the culture, right? Some people eat bugs. Bugs in our culture tend to signify uncleanliness or parasites or something bad. Usually something bad. However, I guess it kind of depends on the bug, right? Because up here we got like a ladybug. We have a nice little ladybug, and I believe ladybugs are lucky, right? You wouldn't necessarily be perturbed to find a ladybug. So I guess it just kind of depends. Let's continue. I just wanted to index that. Teeth and bugs. Let's keep those things in mind and try to maybe see if there's some significance within the series.
I have it set to fix glitches whenever. Some new content, but it's not really that well developed. So I do have to fix a bunch of things manually after it adds new stuff to the game, which is kind of annoying.
Kind of annoying, and then it just abruptly ends, so that's weird. I don't know if there was any point to the closed captioning other than to,
I'm sorry, Ralph.
Allow people to read what he's saying. I didn't see any. Sometimes in these sorts of things, when you have a number of videos and only one has closed captioning, there's some kind of significance to it. So that's why I was sort of thinking along those lines. So if anyone can point out any weird discrepancies within the closed captioning versus what Edgar is saying, that might be something to keep track of. That might be something that is significant. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm going to grab a beer really quick. Excuse me. Ren Dalton, the implication is that he recorded all the Foley art for the shuffling and stuff. That seems interesting to me. Right. So, do people know what Foley means? If you are what is known as a Foley artist, you are someone who records various sounds for, well, could be a video game, it could be a movie. There are people who specialize in just creating specific sound effects, which I always thought was very cool. So Ren is saying that Edgar recorded all the Foley themselves. So that's interesting. Wobbly Street, the caption did say can't when the voiceover said can, but that may have been a simple typo. So that might be something worth revisiting to see if there's any reason a contradiction might exist there. Make sure to read all the descriptions too. Okay, will do. Rain Yohei says if you're the videos were re-uploaded a while after the end of the first season for technical reasons, which is why invitation and soundtrack appear where they do. Oh, okay. That's good to know. So we may not have... So then the question would be, okay, invitation came after the end of season 1 and soundtrack was uploaded. Oh, okay. Okay, so we got a bit of a jump here with that invitation. Of course, we didn't have any context, so make of that what you will. Let's move on to the second installment.
I'm gonna show you guys some more stuff in the game. This here is Paisley. If you look at her sprite, you'll notice that she's wearing one ice skate. That's because one of her legs is shorter than the other. She was born with this leg imbalance. Her grandfather also had the same thing where one of his legs was shorter. So it runs in the family, in her family, but it skips a generation. And when Paisley's grandfather passed away, he gave her this map, and it turned out to be a map of the island. So that's why she came here, because she thinks that there's something buried on the island, like some sort of family heirloom, and that her grandfather was giving her the map so that she could find it. This is Braxton. He also has a leg problem. When he was a teenager, Braxton got bitten by a salt ant, and his leg turned into salt because of it.
Oh, okay.
And the thing about being
really
bitten by a
clears
salt
things
ant
up.
is and it doesn't hurt or anything. So there's one more level I have to beat in order to clear the mushroom wall, and that's this one right here. It's not a creature, it's actually a boss fight. This is the first boss fight, and this is what they look like. So you have to go and collect teeth like you normally do, because these teeth keep appearing, and that's a good thing. You want to get the teeth so that you can beat the boss. And the more teeth you collect, eventually the boss is defeated. But like usual, there's obstacles that you want to avoid. I specifically chose Braxton for this fight because he's resistant to clams, and this boss uses clams. I could also use Chester because he's resistant to ladybugs, which the boss also uses.
Footnote, is it just me, or does this boss, this monster here, does he have 4 ass cheeks? Is that what's going on here? Am I reading this situation correctly? Okay, so we also have, in addition to bugs, we have clams as an enemy.
So either character's fine for this fight. And during one of these boss levels, the more teeth you collect, the faster the projectiles get, and the larger they get as well, so they're harder to avoid. And the reason these bosses are here in the first place is because they're trying to stop the characters, the humans, the human tree people. They're trying to stop them from collecting the teeth and feeding them to the tooth home.
Okay.
But none of them know why. So after I beat that level, it becomes daytime, and when it's daytime, the mushrooms disappear, so there's no longer this wall. So now I can go and beat the other levels. There's 12 levels total, including the bosses.
Okay. So one recurring theme we have here. I forgot to read the description right after that person told me to. Okay, so the video description for the second installment says, cyclical shards, the innards of a brand new god. Okay. I don't know what that means. There is... Thus far, two things occur to me. The first is, okay, we have as opposed to a series like Petscop where someone is playing a video game and just coming into it fresh and just sort of experiencing the game along with the audience. In this case, we have the designer of the game explaining to the audience how their game works, also explaining various characters' backstories, explaining why these monsters are here, although they don't know why, so that's weird. And the creator of the game goes out of their way to point out the monsters, these bosses don't know why they're trying to stop all these various characters from collecting teeth. They don't know why. So number two, the second thing is, as other people in the chat have pointed out, some very surreal things going on. This game is very dreamlike. You have to collect teeth for some reason. There's a boss with 4 asses. You got bugs coming after you. One of the characters got bit by a salt bug and his leg turned into salt. So this is dream logic, right? This is really a kind of dream logic. That's what I'm forced to conclude at this point. And dream logic obviously doesn't work the way normal logic does. So we might need to keep that in mind with respect to our analytical approach to this series, is that the way things are connected might not necessarily make sense from a purely logical point of view, but there might be a kind of dream logic to it. Yeah. So the next installment, the third video, is 3 minutes and 6 seconds long. The description reads, "Things that are broken will come back unfamiliar." And that sort of makes me think of kind of like something along the lines of like psychoanalytic dream interpretation, right? Where if you have unresolved issues, they might, a Freudian would say, they might bubble up in your dream, and you know, there might be something in your dream that signifies in some way some sort of tension you're experiencing in your life, but it's unfamiliar to you because it's coded in a sort of dream logic, right? And I don't know if I fully buy that, like literally. I don't know if our dreams mean anything. I feel like I've had dreams that mean something, but who's to say, right? It's not like it's not something that can ever be falsifiable, right? How can you prove that a dream means something? But this is what is. This is what was called to mind for me. So, I don't know. Let's get going.
This is Eleanor. I really don't know how I'm going to use Eleanor as a character, because I don't have like a backstory or anything for her yet. I haven't figured anything out for her. Anyway, this is Russell, and he has these nightmares, and they're chronic. So he used to take this medicine for it, but eventually the medicine became too expensive, and he also became dependent on it. He became addicted. So eventually one day he had enough, so he threw the medicine into the ocean and he sailed away. He sailed to the island so that he could avoid the temptation. Then his nightmares came back. This is a good level to play as Russell, because
I mean, I've been talking about dreams, and then it comes up with this character. Did he say his name was Russell? So this character has nightmares. Their backstory is that they received some medication for it, but the medication became too expensive. I'm sure we all know, or a lot of us know what that's like. And he also became dependent on the medication, addicted to it. It's almost like it's like so many bad things happening to this one person that it's like almost like absurdly comedic.
He's resistant to apples. And as you can see here, this level has apples in it. And the thing about the weaknesses and resistances is, even though there's like two different colors of apples, there's like red ones and there's like light green ones, he still gets the resistance from both of them. Because the icon in the bottom left that has a picture of an apple, it pretty much means like he's resistant to all apples, not just the red ones. I just wanted to make that clear, because when I had my friend Ralph play the game to test it out, I had to explain that to him, because he was confused. Actually, Ralph is the only...
That's a really weird thing to feel like you need to clarify. Am I wrong? I feel like there's something going on with this guy. I don't know.
Other person besides me who's played this game. Anyway, this level that I'm playing through right now, this purple one here, it's, I think it's one of my favorite ones, actually, in the game. It's one of my favorite levels. I like the color scheme. This song that plays here is also one of the first tracks I, recorded for Illusion Lock.
Footnote. So initially, the enemies were little bugs, right? Which I totally get as a kind of enemy. But now we're getting like things you wouldn't typically associate with something that's harmful, apples, and flowers. And I guess clams too, right? So again, we're kind of like, we're in this weird dream world where apples can hurt you unless you're resistant to them for some reason. And if you're resistant to them, rest assured, you are resistant to both green and red apples. So no worries there. Some very, very surreal stuff going on here. What was that thing? What was that thing? I didn't like that. You see that? Look at that thing. What the hell is that? Okay. So we've kind of, three's a pattern here. We got a general sort of tendency for these videos to end very abruptly. Petscop was kind of like that too. It's just something. It's just the quality of the series. It kind of gives it a certain, I don't know what you would call it. It gives it a certain feeling of immediacy. Because then you start thinking, is there any real sense to the way these videos were chopped up? I don't know. Yeah, Ren Dalton. Usually it's less than helpful to diagnose a character. It's more helpful to think about what their characteristics evoke and how it relates to depictions of neurodivergence. I think that's a good point. When I say there's something going on with Edgar, I also wasn't, I wasn't solely referring to like that they might have a mental illness or whatever. I wasn't really necessarily thinking that. I was more so thinking like there's something going on with him. Like he's got like this weird urge to clarify that both the red and the green apples you're resistant to both of them. It's and the whole game. It's like, why? Like if my friend designed this, my reaction would be, well, first off, it would be like, awesome, you created a game. But second, I would be like, this is really strange. Like, what is going on in that head of yours? And not in a bad way, but just like, this is like, where did all this come from? And there's that little
It's
thing.
probably not the best choice actually to play this level as Russell, because
I should
I
should read the video description, shouldn't I? Things that are familiar will go down the rabbit hole. Okay.
he's weak to clams. It doesn't really matter though, I'm still gonna play it. I'm still gonna beat this level with Russell, because I already started, so. This world isn't really too difficult, because there's a lot of wide open space available for you to traverse. Also, I think this is the level that has the smallest rate of
I just want to say you can tell that he knows this game like the back of his hand because he developed it himself. He just sort of unconsciously goes where the teeth are, even if they're like behind something, he knows exactly where they are.
projectiles flying at you. or the smallest amount at one given time randomly. And the very first level I showed you has the highest. This is Teresa. She's another character. And like her thing is, her like backstory is that she used to be a boxer. And like a long time ago, she was like a boxing champion. And she was really good too, but then one day she hit a guy too hard and he didn't get back up. So she retired. And then she became a waitress, but she didn't like being a waitress, so she quit, and then she came to the island. I'm gonna show you this level next. It's kind of cool. It's sort of like a cave. Or at least it reminds me of a cave. It's not really, it's supposed to be a mouth. There's already a cave on the island. I'll show it to you guys eventually. I'll get to it. I kind of want to talk about the creature designs. If you look closely at them, you'll notice that they all have 16 teeth. And there was originally 16 teeth in every level that you could collect, but then I made them 20. So now there's 20 teeth. It's kind of inconsistent, but it doesn't really matter. That's just how it is, I guess. I don't know, I'm just not having the best day. I tried to contact Ralph today, and he's just not responding. I'm getting kind of worried. I feel like I did something. I don't know what I did. I think I did something wrong. This level's kind of cool.
This narrator has the tendency to sort of touch on things that are quite intriguing and then just sort of go back to the game and just be like, this is, and start explaining these little minute details within the game that we're supposed to keep track of, like the used to be 16 teeth per level or whatever. Now there's 20. Ralph, I believe, aside from Edgar, is the first like real world person within the fictional universe of this game that has been alluded to. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ralph is like, Edgar seems to think that Ralph is upset with him for some reason, not returning his calls.
It reminds me of an orange creamsicle, actually. Those are good. I like those. I don't know why I keep using Teresa on the levels that have planets in them, because she's weak to those. Yeah, I could be playing this game a lot smarter. If I like really cared about beating the game, like, without losing health as much as possible, then I'd probably use someone like Eleanor for this level. Fun fact, when I was originally, like when I first programmed this level in the game, something went wrong and...
yeah, footnote. Before he goes on to something else, that's kind of interesting that there is a character that is more optimal to play for this particular level, and yet he's choosing another character, and he sort of writes it off like, yeah, no big deal. I don't know. It's like he's sabotaging himself, and he's sort of he's just very casual about it. And I understand that he's the developer of the game. So maybe, he doesn't necessarily care about beating the game. He's just doing this purely to demonstrate how the game works, right? I get all that. It's just weird to me. It's like, it's a detail that I feel like wouldn't be put in the series unless there's something significant to it. Like, why are you choosing to sabotage yourself?
The characters just weren't getting hurt whenever they'd like step on an obstacle or get hit by something. they wouldn't take any damage, which is really weird, and I couldn't figure out why, because my code was like fine. But I fixed it. I fixed it using some.
Okay. Getting a buzzing in the right side of the audio. And he was abruptly cut off here. This is really trippy.
This is another boss level. Unfortunately, I don't really have any names for the bosses yet. Like, I haven't named them. I've considered giving them names, but right now they're just like boss 1, boss 2, boss 3. There's 4 bosses.
Yeah. Footnote. So we got apples in this one, and we have eyeballs. And I mean, it's calling to mind the expression apple of my eye. I don't know if that means anything, but you have apples and eyeballs. I feel like I need to say that.
Kind of like these nameless things that you just have to fight if you want to beat the game. But if I come up with names for them, I'll let you guys know in one of these videos. There's a whole bunch of things in this game that I haven't really figured out, like what I'm gonna do with them. Like Eleanor, for example. And also, I don't know why they're trees. Like, I have yet to give these characters a reason as to why they're tree people. I'll figure out something. Just you wait. And I originally did have an idea, like some big storyline as to why they were trees. But I scrapped that. But that was right when I was making the sprites, so I didn't really change the sprites to fit that, so I guess they're just trees now. Maybe it's like they came to the island and became trees, or maybe they were just trees the whole time, and when they were a part of society they were already tree people. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Some things need to be discussed. Okay. Ren Dalton says he cares so much about the narrative. He talks about it so much more lovingly than the mechanics or technical aspects. That's true, with the exception of the enemies. He hasn't really fleshed out what's going on with them. Like, he says, I think the first thing he said about them was, they're trying to stop all these characters from collecting teeth, but they don't know why. And if they don't know why, it means that the developer or the person who created the mythos of this game doesn't know and hasn't really fleshed out that part of the story yet. Or they're very intentionally saying these enemies don't know why they're doing this. It's just something they are willed to do. They have been willed in existence to serve this function. So, yeah. Really, I feel like it's really significant that the creator of the game has not figured out why there are enemies on the island, or what they're supposed to be doing, or any of their backstory, and yet he has very elaborate backstories for all of the main characters, right? Hustle legally. As soon as he begins to question the plot, the video is cut. Yeah. It's interesting. If that emerges as a pattern, it'll be really interesting, right? Right. Secret XX stars. It's interesting how both passive and invested he is in the game and story development. Yeah. Or certain elements Edgar seems to really care about, and other elements he's just like, I don't know. And I can't really figure out like a coherent pattern there. It's weird. Like, why would you flesh out the backstory of all your main characters but not the enemies? Enemies are pretty important to a story. Antagonists are pretty important. Or at least one would think they are, you know? So we've gone through the yeah. We're on 5 now. Right. Lost track of where we were, damn it. I think we're on 5.
Okay, so after...
Okay, so the description in this one reads, that's where the singing is. Okay. Gotcha.
After I recorded the last episode, I started brainstorming a bunch of ideas for, like, why these people are trees. And I came up with something. I think what it's going to be like is, like, there's this divine being, right? That, like, created tree life, like, plant life, and also human life, and, like, animals and stuff. And then, after that divine being, like, passed on and was replaced, the next one, like, made everything super chaotic and, like, combined everything into, like, one being, like, all plants and all, like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, what was that?
What was that just there with the... Anyway,
It's hard for me to pay attention to what he's saying because I love this song. It's just my jam. It sounds like a nice, like, 80s synth song. Oh, man.
I lost my train of thought. Damn. I guess that was just a glitch. Anyway, what I was saying, so there was this other divine being, the second one, like, combined all plant life and human life. And then, because of that, that divine being was, like, kicked out of the heavens for, like, disrupting the peace and the natural balance and order of things. So then the next divine being fixed it by separating humans and plants again. Except this third god that comes around, they couldn't completely separate plants and humans. So there's a little bit of, like, residue combination there, if that makes any sense. I'm still kind of working on... Oh wait, this is actually a visual glitch for that level. It happens every time. But you have to leave the level and then come back, and that is normal. Like, this is what it's supposed to look like. Again, that's another...
Again. Buzzing.
Making this whole thing, because, like, I put in the codes, and I, like, do all, like, the game design and whatnot, but then I have to...
Okay, footnote. I mean... Yeah, multiple times now we've had buzzing in the right side and his voiceover is cut off. So various people have suggested that he is being censored. I think that is probably the theory that makes the most sense at this point. The question would be, why? And can we go back and figure out the syntax of what he's talking about and identify a pattern with what is being censored? Not going to attempt to do that now, but that's something to keep in mind. This music is good.
Fix that glitch. And it's like, it's kind of a big cycle, but at the end of the day, it's worth it because it cleans up so much of the code. And I kind of need that because I'm not a very good coder. I still have a lot to learn, and I don't have a team either. It's just me. Like, I'm the only human being that's working on this game. Yeah. So there's one more...
I'm the only human being working on this game? Meaning... What? Meaning there's non-human beings? Very interesting choice of words there. I'm the only human being working on this game.
More level, and it's right here. It's a boss. I'm gonna fight it with Georgia. I'm still kind of debating if I want health to be as scarce as it is right now for the final game. Because it's kind of like you can drink from the well once, and then that's it. You can't heal like any of the characters. But I kind of want to keep it that way, and the reason is because even though you can't heal, you can't restore anything, you still have a bunch of characters that have their own full health at the beginning of the game. So if you like lose a fight with one of them, you can just use another character. But maybe I should like put like one other way to get health back in the game, and it could be secret, maybe like a secret way to complete a task that will give you more health aside from the well. So yeah, I just beat all the levels. As you can see now, it's raining. That's what happens after all the teeth have been collected, and it's sort of supposed to be like incentive for you to go back inside the tooth home so that you can open the cabinet and put the teeth in there. So I'm gonna go in, but before I actually open the cabinet, I just want to show you that the well's now full, and it will be full every time you reset the island level once it starts raining, because you've beaten all the levels and there's nothing else to do. So yeah, that's what I have so far. I hope...
Hooray! You collected all the teeth and deposited them into the cabinet. The tooth home will have a feast tonight. Normal. Very normal stuff going on here. That's everything in the game so far, because it's still being built. Thank you for playing Illusion Lock. I do appreciate the sort of, explicitly spelling out, I don't know if I want this game to be as hard as it currently is. Kind of exploring, another secret way to restore your health. I do think his reasoning is sound, right? Because you do have a pretty large cast of characters with full health at the beginning of the game. I think it's fairly reasonable that if you want this game to be sufficiently challenging, you have to sort of figure out, okay, well, I should use this character for this level because, their strengths and weaknesses are specifically geared towards this level. I can't wait. Ace of Spades. I can't wait for you to tie this all into an anti-capitalist rant. Well, We'll see. The teeth could be a signifier representing commodities, and the process of collecting teeth is, of course, the accumulation of things under capitalism. I don't know. There is something to be said about the idea that, like, you need to collect teeth in order to perpetuate the game. That is sort of like how the game can be thought of as an internally coherent system, right? But I'm kind of just running out the clock because I can't figure out what are we supposed to make of this here.
Hope you enjoyed that. I don't know what that is.
Okay. He doesn't know
in
either.
the bottom left.
Very chill. Very chill.
I'm not sure what that is, because I didn't put it in there, so it must be some.
Oh, censored again. Cool. Very chill. Very normal stuff going on here. Well, this is interesting. This is, how many times has he been censored at this point? Third or fourth time? He doesn't know what this is. He has stated...
Okay, that's all for now.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. The fuck is that? Very strange. Okay. Now it's getting interesting. 1, he said, I'm the only human working on this game, which would seem to indicate that some other non-human entity is helping him out, possibly. Whew. 2, it would appear that Edgar is being censored. It would appear. So we need to revisit that. We need to go back and figure out the context in which he's being censored and formulate theories as to why that might be. Perhaps there is some entity involved with the creation of this game that has perhaps a differing vision of what the game should be as opposed to Edgar's vision. Hope I'm making sense. I'm going to grab another beer, and these videos are fairly digestible and short. I think we can proceed. Yeah. Another beer for me. I gotta pee as well. Excuse me. Don't you love it, folks? We got all the makings of a spooky situation here. We got ancient elder gods. We have perhaps an unreliable narrator. We're not sure. At the very least, the narrator is being censored, so we can't really trust that we're getting the full story from the narrator. And we have the narrator referencing, or at least saying, I'm the only human working on this game. Yeah, that's a normal thing to say, right? So it is getting interesting. I don't know. What do people think? You think my bookshelf is going to fall over? I think it's pretty sturdy. You want me to reassure you? As it just falls over on me. What kind of beer do I like? I like all kinds of beers. Right now I am just drinking Sam Adams. That's kind of my go-to. So if Sam Adams would like to sponsor the stream, I would be open to that. Yeah. Someone says Ralph. Oh, Wobbly Street says Ralph was a playtester. Okay, I may have missed that. Do I think I'll ever cover House of Leaves? Probably not, because I didn't particularly enjoy it. Just giving you my honest opinion. Actually, okay, to clarify, I think I've said this before. I enjoyed the Davidson record portion of the book. I don't like all the other postmodern bullshit. I think there's a little book called Infinite Jest that does all this stuff better. Hate to be that guy, but it's true. I did want to note that it seemed as though our protagonist was, well, is it fair to call Edgar our protagonist? I mean, I guess at this point it makes sense, but at any rate, Edgar was cut off when he was talking about the backstory that he had contrived for the enemies within the game. And he was alluding to all these various gods, right? And then he was abruptly cut off. So there might be something to that. There might be some information that some other party doesn't want us to know, right? Yeah. I think the someone is saying don't compare everything to Petscop. I think the comparisons are inevitable, whether they are helpful or not. Like the idea that I think the fact of the matter is that Petscop has sort of started a trend of fictional video games, like Let's Play series of fictional video games. I think if it weren't for Petscop, we wouldn't be seeing this proliferation in the way that we do. I mean, it's kind of, one would think it's only a matter of time before something like Petscop came out, like a series about a game that doesn't really exist, you know. But Petscop really accelerated that trend, and now we're seeing all sorts of stuff, right? I just covered Diminish. There's AI builds. There's this Illusion Lock. I'm sure there are others. Yeah. So on one hand, the comparison is inevitable, right? On the other, I do think it's like we shouldn't try to fit everything into a certain mold. There's kind of a tyranny behind that. We should let things be what they are. Like when it came to Diminish, I basically said the same thing all throughout as I was experiencing that series. I said it wears its heart on its sleeve. You know, and there are various points at which I question that, but I always come back. To that. It wears its heart on its sleeve. That's refreshing. It's totally like it's an altogether different experience than something like Petscop, which, you know, say what you will about Petscop. I think it is, in my opinion, it is brilliant. Obviously, I wouldn't have devoted so much time to it if I didn't think it merited like a very close analysis, right? But that's just my opinion. I know some people don't like the way it ended. I think the way it ended is kind of the point. But, you know, we have different artistic sensibilities. And that's okay. I have to let it go that you won't agree with me. If I was a bit earlier, I would yell at you. If I was a bit younger, if I was in my early 20s, I'd be like, no, you're fucking wrong, all right? Here's the way it is. And I've just learned to let shit go, because it's like not everybody's got the same artistic sensibilities as you. And no matter how much you explain how brilliant something is, not everybody's going to agree with you. No matter how much you try to articulate or rationalize or support your argument, people aren't going to, we're just not going to see eye to eye all the time, and that's okay. So I feel like I've maybe grown a little bit as a person. Yeah, see, Secret XX Star says it's the same reason I don't enjoy most David Lynch movies. There just gets a point for me personally when things get too ungrounded and not intentional. Now, I would compare Petscop to David Lynch. I think that is an apt comparison, but I disagree with you that there is no intention there. There's a very cohesive intention. It's just not something you like. It's just not something you're into. I mean, if there's one thing I can say about David Lynch, it's that he is fairly consistent, and there is intentionality there. And while I do fundamentally believe in death of the author, it's like pretty impossible to say that David Lynch doesn't know exactly what he is doing. He knows what he's doing. I think what happens is, I think it is a pitfall to try to think about the creator's intentions too much, because you start getting into a sort of you start developing all these expectations that might actually not be in line with the elements of the work you're experiencing. And then you end up sort of like, it's kind of like an exercise in circular reasoning or question begging. You're like, well, it's supposed to be this thing and it's not, so why isn't it this thing that I want? Yeah. Let's see. Wow, we got 100 people watching. How y'all doing? You want to see me? Do we want to move on here? Yeah. Ren Dalton says, sometimes something can appear chaotic and hyper strange, and in reality, the reality is that there's a lot of intention in it. It's just that the images are intensely personal or stylistic. I think that's, yeah. I think that's on point. Anyway, let's proceed. We're on 6, right?
Okay, so I fixed a couple things, and I also realized that I forgot to show you guys the cave. What the cave looks like on the inside, so I'm going to do that now. Another thing, just to make it easier to go from one part of the island to the other, just so that I can show you stuff more quickly. These mushrooms are transparent now. They're not going to be in the final game, but since everything I want to show you is on this side of the island, I made it so that they're not obstacles, just for now. Here's the cave. Here's what it looks like. And if I keep going, it's empty. There's nothing in here.
Okay.
For now, at least. I'm thinking about putting maybe like a secret item in here. But until then, it's just an empty cave. There's no point in going inside. Now, there's something else. And it's up here. Hold on. I need to stop the recording real quick.
Okay, his phone buzzed. Said he needed to stop.
This is what I wanted to show you guys. It's fixed.
Okay. Just want to point out what happened here. Edgar was trying to show us something. His phone started buzzing. He needed to stop recording. And then when he came back all of a sudden he's got the sniffles. It sounds like he's been crying.
It's all normal now. Sorry. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think that was gonna happen. What the hell? What? Hello? The fuck just happened?
So the game is talking to him? That's what's going on here, right?
It must have been listening in on my microphone.
Oh, okay. That's what it must have been doing.
It's not supposed to do that. Oh my god.
Okay, so... Uh-oh, another cycle
Hey everyone,
starts.
it's Edgar.
Nope.
Okay, so I fixed a couple things.
Forgot to read the description again. Uh-oh, another cycle starts. This basically confirms what I was thinking, which is that there's another entity involved in the development of this game. A non-human entity. So this is, I feel as though we are firmly in like supernatural territory right now.
Okay, so I figured out something.
No title screen.
Regarding the numbers that appeared at the end of the playthrough, when I opened the cabinet. And I didn't know what they meant, but I started thinking about them musically. And I realized since the numbers go from 0 to 12, and there are 12 notes in a musical scale, if the numbers represent pitches and the dashes represent duration, I can make a melody out of this. And
Okay.
Since it is using my microphone, maybe it'll respond. Okay, I'm back in the tooth home, and there are a couple things that I would like to try. The first thing involves my keyboard. At one point, the game told me that I should sing. So I'm gonna try and play the melody that I was talking about earlier. I'm not sure if...
Is that a response? love that someone's username is not in table. Okay, so switch characters here. What is... No, Edgar's going into the cave. Not saying anything. Oh. No, thank you. Nope. Nope. Ah, for fuck's sake. Okay. I see it. Oh, let's watch a PewDiePie video now. That's exactly what I want to do. To cleanse my palate. Jesus Christ.
So, I figured out something.
You figured it out. Clever God you were. Is that directed to Edgar? That seems like it's directed to him. No? Okay, well. Yeah.
Okay, so I figured out something. Regarding the numbers that appeared at
Oh, did I watch this one already?
end of the playthrough. When I opened the cap.
Duh. It's upside down. Says the same thing, I think.
That did anything.
It's the type of
But I don't
expert
really feel like trying
analysis you get
again.
a Nightmare Masterclass.
Because if it didn't work that time, I don't really see it working at all. So I'm gonna try something else that I was thinking about. So
Footnote, does he remember what happened just now? Because it seems to me that's kind of noteworthy, and Edgar is not addressing the fact that he came across some kind of weird creature. Seems to think like, oh, that didn't work, so I'm trying something else. You're not going to address the freaky looking creature?
wait, let me move the mic. I'm gonna try and see if Russell has a nightmare. Because I didn't program a nightmare into the game, but I was planning to. Where's Eleanor?
What?
She's supposed to be here.
Okay, so other characters are walking around independently?
Go back to the tooth home. And I sleep in the bed. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh. That's a bear trap.
Okay.
That was a bear trap
Bear trap.
with teeth. Maybe I should uninstall it.
Uninstall.
No. There's no going back now. I can't afford to lose everything that I've worked on.
Edgar briefly is contemplating uninstalling the game. The game that supposedly he created. What would cause Edgar to have such thoughts? Because that's a pretty drastic measure, no? Then he concludes, I've come too far. I have worked too hard on this game. What is spooking him?
So far. Where is she? Okay, now I'm pissed off. Because I checked the assets, I looked at the files in Unity, and Eleanor's just gone. Her sprite's gone, her script's gone.
Wow.
It's like she was never there. This is not your game. This is my game. I know you can hear me. Stop it. I spent so much time on this. Don't you dare delete anything. I'm not gonna add anything else to this game until I know what's going on.
Uh-oh. Something else was deleted here. Just get it out.
Okay.
Let's get that going again. Tooth's home, a living entity. That's what Georgia told us.
Okay.
And it's her passion to sustain it. She wants us to know. She wants to know what will happen when it reaches full power. I wonder how it got to the island.
I'm thirsty.
Oh, you're thirsty. Okay.
I'm fucking tired of this.
Did it grow from the ground?
It's trying to tell me something. Oh? That's weird. I wonder if there's anything out here. Can I? I can. I can explore the ocean. Maybe I'll find something. Nothing up there. What about over here? Oh. Oh, hello.
Fish?
Big. Can I go in your mouth? Yeah. Alright. This is new.
Inside the fish here?
I guess it's just building itself now. I'm kind of curious. Oh, that's Susanna. I designed her. So she's in the game, but I didn't program anything for her.
I used to live on the island. A long time ago.
She's supposed to be a detective. That was the original plan.
Georgia and I were partners. I trusted her. But I didn't trust the Tooth home. You never trust the tooth home. I refuse to feed it. Georgia didn't like that.
Huh.
Huh. Yeah, huh indeed. Shut up, Edgar, is the video description here. That is... a lot to take in. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on right now, so you're going to have to bear with me. I think basically what's going on... there is another entity, or entities, plural, within this game. Not sure how they got there. The game is altering itself, or the entities within the game have figured out a way to alter it in some way. Someone said this feels like a ripoff of Doki Doki Literature Club, but it's like, I mean, does Doki Doki Literature Club get the patent on the idea of someone altering a game? Because that's a pretty broad concept. I think the idea here is specifically with respect to the so-called tooth home. There's like feeding the tooth home seems to be a sort of like fundamental drive for this character Georgia, although, you know, we're all operating on the assumption, and maybe you all have seen more of this series than I have, but I'm operating on, you know, or the series seems to indicate that all of these separate characters have their own independent lives and their own independent motives, and they communicate with the player, who is also the creator of the game, or at least the co-creator, right? And we are assuming that all these characters are independent, that they can think for themselves, but they might all be little puppets, right? They might all be controlled by one singular entity that is trying to take control of the game for some reason, or manipulate Edgar in some way. The motives are unclear, but we're 8 episodes in, and the one thing that is clear is that there's someone else besides Edgar manipulating things within the game. That's what we know. And I'll be right back. Beer. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, Lauren. Meta horror with self-aware fiction is basically its own genre at this point. Yeah, and I mean, I'm into it. If it is executed properly, I don't really give a shit if things are original. Usually, like, if my issue with if my issue with something is it's been done before, usually the reason I'm saying that is it's been done and the other thing was better. I prefer the other thing that did this first. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, Scriptus. This is less Photoshop horror and more like children's storybook body horror. I think that there's something to that, with the teeth in particular. And you got the eyeballs too. Yeah. Yeah, meta horror is cool. I quite enjoyed Doki Doki Literature Club. Absolutely. Obligatory plug here. Please, support independent artists. I know there's a certain... You can't please everybody, and there's probably a certain portion of my audience that's not into this, and that's fine. At the same time, I'm very much inclined, when it's clear to me, first off, the amount of time and effort it takes to put into something like this, there is a certain originality, at least with respect to the surrealism going on here. Teeth in particular, it's unnerving to me. And also the illustrations are very much tonally cohesive. Like, on one hand, they look pretty rudimentary, but on the other hand, there's kind of like a cohesiveness to the way in which they're drawn that makes me feel like this thing has its own cohesive style, and it's quite unlike a lot of things I've seen. I think, children's storybook body horror gets about as close to it as I can articulate. Obligatory plug though, like, go at the very least, go subscribe to the channel. I also got to say the music is really good. Like I'd like to try to find the one in particular. No timestamps though. Yeah, well, okay. John says originality is a complete scam. I wouldn't say it's a scam, but I would say that, like, usually when people focus on this concept of originality, it is acting as a sort of, like, signifier in the place of some other thing they don't really like. Like if they're saying a work is unoriginal, it's usually because it's maybe like derivative in such an overt way that it is distracting. I don't think that's the case here, because all of these elements are like things I've never really seen before. Thank you for the super chat. Hustle legally. That's right. To supporting small creators. And by small, I just mean, independent. People who don't have a goddamn studio and millions of dollars behind them. Noxy566, art is so fucking hard. Yeah, I think that's right. It is hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard, and that's just really the first step, is putting yourself out there, right? Yeah. Then WAF. I don't feel like originality is a scam, but it's overrated. I think it's kind of a red flag when someone has built a sort of cult around the idea of originality. Because usually that's compensating for something, in my view. If you have such a myopic focus on originality, it's like, I don't quite know how to articulate it. It's weird to me. You know what it is? It's aestheticism. It's the idea that, like, art for art's sake. That sort of notion rubs me the wrong way. Usually, like, the reason I like art is because there's some kind of, like, societal commentary going on. It's not simply art for art's sake. I always found that notion to be, like, weird and self-indulgent. That's just my opinion. The fuck do I know? Thank you for the super chat. Bishuki? I am sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Bishuki Pepperpelt. What a delightful name. Thank you very much. Nothing is new under the sun. It's tricky. New is a tricky concept. Usually what new is a new combination of things that are not new, that are old, in fact. And somehow the unique combination of these things make it new, right? It's tough to wrap your mind around, though. Yeah, Rain, I think you said it before I did. Beyond Beyond that, new things tend to spring from novel combinations of existing ideas. You said it better than I did. Or what we call a new idea is really the first breakthrough of an existing idea into the mainstream. Yeah, right. That, you know what it kind of reminds me of is, I bet, I won't do any spoilers, but I've been watching WandaVision, and for something within the Marvel universe, WandaVision is a bit out there, right? And I would sort of guess that for a lot of younger people, it might be the first sort of out there thing that they've actually seen. Like, if you are a kid and you're really into Marvel stuff and you watch WandaVision, you're not getting like your run-of-the-mill superhero affair, right? You're getting this weird sort of Twilight Zone type thing. And while it is kind of obviously like WandaVision, if you actually watch it and you're into weird stuff like me, it really is pretty tame. It's really not that out there. In fact, it's pretty straightforward, and it kind of turns into like an NCIS episode in the middle of it. But it's a little bit out there relative to other Marvel, other works within the Marvel universe, and there's a function there. There's something. There's merit to that. It might be this sort of like rabbit hole that, you know, some kid is watching this and they're kind of like into it, and it kind of awakens something, you know? It kind of intrigues them to the point where they're like, oh, what are some other weird things like WandaVision? And you sort of start cultivating your taste around something, even though like the impetus of that might not have been, it's pretty tame by like the standards of, you know, comparing it to something like a David Lynch movie, right? Obviously, WandaVision is incredibly tame compared to that, but it might be a teenager's impetus to kind of start exploring some things that are really kind of out there. I don't know. It's just my 2 cents. And this is, I'll finish with my beer. It's my last one for tonight. I'm going to switch to water. Always remember the importance of being hydrated. Oh, okay. Well, people are arguing in the chat. I think that the important thing to keep in mind is kind of what I said earlier. Everyone's got their own sensibilities, and we can try to kind of articulate our tastes and maybe explain why we like certain things and why we don't like certain things. And we can maybe even convince people that there's merit to something, we could perhaps even convince them that there's some kind of flaw with a given work, right? But it's important to keep in mind a lot of the disagreements when it comes to this type of thing are just matters of sensibility, and it's really, really kind of hard to argue about that, and a lot of the times it can get not productive because you're just arguing over, like, I like blue. Oh, really? I like green. Okay, there's nothing to argue about there, right? This is just two different preferences, and there's nothing wrong with either. I love art. I hope I don't give off those vibes. Hustle legally. It is what it is, you know. I'm just doing my thing over here. It is kind of like the idea that, like, I remember with Crow 64, the fact that all of these game files were released, and it was very explicitly designed in Unity, and the idea was, like, they sort of retroactively justified within the lore of the universe why they like that the development company in fact created Unity, turned a few people off because it was kind of like a really, like, elaborate sort of way to justify this plot hole, which is that, of course, it was designed in Unity, and obviously, like, there weren't any N64 games designed in Unity. So the degree to which one is willing to suspend their disbelief is a matter of aesthetic sensibilities. It's not really something you can argue about it, but you're gonna have a bad time. There's not really any point to it. That's like, if this works for you, that's cool. If it doesn't, it is what it is. I don't think anyone needs to apologize. If you're stating your opinion about something, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As long as you're not like a bigot or something. Secret XX Stars, thank you for the super chat. Oh, clumsy wording, re-lynch. Well, don't worry about your clumsy wording. I wouldn't worry about that, but of course, if you're gonna attack my boy Lynch, I'm gonna get a bit defensive. David Lynch just got the vaccine. Praise Jesus. He lives. But anyway, thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And I think it's perfectly fine. So on one hand, I think it's like, it's kind of an exercise in futility to really argue over sensibilities. On the other hand, I think it's perfectly fine to discuss like the merits of something or problems you have with it, as long as you are as long as you're trying to have a productive conversation and you're having it in good faith. There's really no reason why anything should, you know, you shouldn't feel bad for saying something negative, I don't think. I try, you know, the way I try to approach these things is I try to keep in mind that the things I typically review on my channel or attempt to analyze are works by independent artists who have created the things I'm experiencing as a sort of labor of love. And that basic premise is something I deeply respect. So I try to keep that in mind. Now, you'll notice my tone will shift when I talk about something like Cyberpunk 2077, which is this big profit-making venture, which is the culmination, or it is the product of a certain degree of human misery, if you understand how the game was actually made, with all the crunch time that went into it. And on top of that, it doesn't really have any redeeming features as far as the game itself. I mean, if you watch my review, you know what I think of it. So the way I approach a critique of something that is very clearly to me a labor of love, something made by an independent creator, I'm going to approach that a little bit differently than I approach something that I perceive as heartless. That's just my philosophy. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but that's how I approach things. And I am deeply excited to see what David Lynch has to come up with next. Yeah, Rain. I think AAA games are... There's a... My eyes just glaze over. They're all the same. They're all the fucking same. They're all one-dimensional. I seriously, I don't think I'm going to invest my time in another AAA game. I think it's pointless. Well, I dare say we have had very few problems with this stream. Knock on wood. I think this is the song I like. See if I can do something fancy here. I blew myself. I'm blue now. This is more like a green, I don't know.
Hey y'all. I just start talking like this. Hey y'all. How you doing? David here.
That's weirding me out. I gotta stop. It's giving me like I took too much vibes. What's the attribution on this music? Music by Parson Hex. I'll tell you what. I'll drop that link in the chat. Jesus Christ. That's not right. Got a super long YouTube link. That's not good. Okay, here we go. Yeah. There's the soundtrack. In case you're interested. Link in the chat. My color looks wrong now. It's set at 0. Right. Yeah. It's not as though like big studios never produce something good. But it's kind of a miracle when they do. Jackal Moth, will you do more streaming of this series? I enjoyed it quite a bit. I might. I'm undecided. Got a fair number of people watching. I don't like. You gotta understand that, like, there's always gonna be people, there's always gonna be detractors for anything that you're watching. And the thing is, it's like, usually that's, if someone is very passionately not liking something, if they very passionately dislike a work, they are prone to be more vocal about it. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is the negativity you see in the chat might be not representative of how most people feel. Does that make sense? what people think. I had a test stream a few weeks ago. Where I kind of asked people's opinions about the different colors I could do. I got green here. I'm really looking red. It's really making my face look like flushed. Got yellow. Purple, which I really feel is kind of like washed out. It's kind of like a teal, lighter blue. And this is mainly what I've been sticking with. I got red in case I ever get angry. You'll know if someone in the chat gets out of line, I'll turn on the red light. That's how you know I'm angry. I don't know. What do you guys think? Got pink here. Pinkish hue. And I think I like blue. I don't know. I like green too. That's probably my second favorite. Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft, is that right? No, its parent company is ZeniMax Media Incorporated. I think I like blue. Yeah. Well, I would like to give the obligatory reminder that if you enjoy my videos and you want to support me on a monthly basis, you can do so at patreon.com/Nightmare Masterclass. If you enjoyed the music at the beginning of this stream, you can visit my Bandcamp. It's nightmaremasterclass.com. nightmaremasterclass.bandcamp.com. If you enjoy this music, I have posted a link to that Bandcamp in the chat. And I will ask you again to please subscribe to Illusion Lock. And I don't know, my opinion is it's promising from what I've seen thus far. And I don't know where it's going. But, yeah, I'll drop a link to my Patreon in the chat. Here's my Patreon. And, as far as Bandcamp goes, I do think we have a Bandcamp Friday coming up at some point here pretty soon. So that would mean creators get, I believe, pretty much 100% of the proceeds, as opposed to the typical rev share. So keep your ear to the ground. And, yeah. I think we're going to leave it at that.